Hello, everyone. My name is B. Yowzi. I'm an LPC associate here at Frontera Healthcare, supervised by Dr. Richard Amos.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Summers. I'm also an LPC associate here at Frontera, supervised by Richard Amos.
And both Jenna and I are at the Fredericksburg location providing mental health services. Before we get started, we wanted to take a moment to thank our incredible partners. The Wellness Uncorked initiative is made possible through the partnership with the Texas Wine Auction and Frontier Healthcare Network. This project we're very excited to do. This initiative allows us to provide free group counseling classes, educational seminars, and Mindful Mondays, like you're seeing today, health fairs, and more, all designated to support the well being of our community, especially service workers. So, today we're jumping into a very exciting topic, trauma in the body and understanding somatic responses to stress. Jen and I are so excited to share a little bit about this because it really is important and it just brings more awareness to the body and what's going on. So, we're excited. So, let's begin this presentation. Again, thank you to Wellness and Court for doing this and through the Texas Wine Auction. So, let's get started. So this is our agenda. So we're going to go through what is somatic stress, what are the main causes of somatic stress, how the body responds to stress, and healing and regulation. So this is all very important because it affects everyone. Everyone has a little bit of stress, whether it's big or large, and that's something Jen and I see every day. Even ourselves have stress and have stressful moments, right? We're all humans, but it's how we let that stress affect us and how we work through the stress to be able to overcome it and continue to do what we're supposed to do here on this earth. So we're going to get into the first slide.
All right. So, what is somatic trauma? Trauma affects the mind and the body. And these somatic responses are physical reactions to stress or danger. The nervous system can remain in a heightened state after trauma. And a lot of these common sides that, we'll feel is tension, fatigue, headaches, rapid heartbeat. We can feel one or two or all of these together.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, I know for me, when I start to get stressed, I get a lot of muscle tension.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel a little fatigue, but mostly muscle tension.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can get tightness in the chest. I mean, we all and this ranges from young to old.
Mhm.
I mean, we all feel these different things, and it's really good to be aware of where we're feeling the stress in our body.
Yeah. And I think, Jenna, when you say that, I think of play therapy because I know you do play therapy. So do you see kids having stress at that young of an age?
I do. I mean, even as young as 3 and 4 years old, and usually they say they can feel it in their head, they can feel it in their belly. And
Okay.
so we work through different things and different techniques and different skills to help relieve some of that tension.
Okay, that's awesome. So, yeah, somatic trauma is everyone has it from young to old. So I think that's really important why we're talking about it today.
So here's the main causes. We have chronic psychological stress. So this is when we have work pressure or we're a caregiver or financial strains. This is stress that just doesn't let up. It's consistent. The nervous system stays activated. And over time, this constant having to be on
Hmm.
state shows up in the body. It can show up as muscle tension, pain, digestive issues, even, and exhaustion. There's also trauma and unresolved emotional experiences. And this is our past trauma, especially when it wasn't processed. We didn't go to therapy. We didn't talk about this. We didn't have a good support system. And this can stay stored in our nervous system. And the body can react if the danger is still present, even years later. This can show up as hypervigilance, tightness in the chest, like I kind of talked about earlier, and where I feel it, stomach distress, fatigue. There's also nervous system dysregulation. So if someone's in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses, they get activated too often. The body can struggle to know how to return to a calm baseline. And this type of dysregulation can create chronic physical symptoms. So we can have that jaw clenching, um, tension headaches, difficulty in sleeping. And when we don't sleep well, we're
Mhm.
even more stressed, we're tired, we're more agitated, more easily frustrated. So all of these things are really important by themselves and together.
Yeah, I know. And I was just kind of looking through this as you were talking, Jenna. I think the top ones that we possibly see is chronic nervous system, stress. I
Mhm.
think we still do see the trauma and unresolved emotional experiences, but sometimes, when you're in the therapy room with a client, sometimes they don't even recognize that. And you're like, hey,
Mhm.
like, do you feel like this may be some unresolved emotions that happened, 5, 6, 10 years ago?
Yeah, that they've
Um,
repressed.
and it may not be the current, like, oh, they say, oh, my job's stressful, or this.
Mhm.
And then the more you go deeper with them, they're like, oh, wait. And you're like, I think it's that thing that happened. Because in a way, you keep going back to that
Mhm.
situation that happened 5 years ago.
Yeah, you're right,
So,
B.
yeah, yeah. So I think this is just a great breakdown of the three main types of somatic stress, how they show up, what they look like. And so then you can be better equipped to explain that to maybe your PCP, your nurse practitioner. Maybe then they can say, hey, like, I think you need to see a therapist, or I think you need to see a psychiatrist, or, whatever that may be. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's great.
There's also there are some other causes like emotional suppression. So we kind of already hit on that. There was a trauma and we've kind of repressed those feelings of anger or grief or
Hmm.
fear or sadness. And we're not taking care of those feelings. And there's environmental and lifestyle stressors. So this is something that we likely all struggle with, maybe in different seasons of our life. Poor sleep, lack of rest, overstimulation, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy friendships, and just the constant pressure can keep all the body in a stressed, heightened state. There's also learned survival patterns. So if someone grew up in an environment where they had to stay alert,
Hmm.
they had to please others, they had to suppress their needs, their body also may be stuck in those patterns, even if they're in safe environments now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, the key takeaway and the key idea is somatic stress isn't separate from emotional stress. It's the body's way of carrying what the mind hasn't fully processed or discharged.
Yeah. And one thing I think that Jen and I really saw a lot was noise, screens, multitasking. We always say, oh, I'm such a great multitasker. I can do
Mhm.
so much. But really, how in the present moment are you with multitasking, right? There's always going to be one thing you're letting slide because there's three different things. And I think another thing is screens. I think it's
Mhm.
very important. We all have technology in our lives, almost all of us, where we either have to have it to work, we have to have it to survive or to educate or anything like that. And so I think it's limiting as much screen time as possible where we don't have to interact with the screen. Maybe dinner time with the family, like no screens, or hey, let's have Saturdays no screen day. Really having that rest away from screens.
And there's so many low maintenance, affordable things that you can do other than scrolling on your
Hmm.
phone or your iPad or your computer. Um, I've got two young children. We play a lot of board games. We do a lot of painting.
Hmm.
Um, there are things that we can do, and we need to remember that we model those behaviors. So the more that as parents we're on our phones, we're on our iPads. That's what our children are seeing too. And, we talked a little bit last week about how difficult the explosion of social media can be on adults and children. So it's just
Hmm.
something to be aware of.
Yeah, I like that modeling technique, Jenna. Like, hey, and even being self aware and apologizing, like, hey, kids, like, I'm sorry, I've been on my phone more this evening,
Mhm.
and that's not fair to you guys. So I'm putting it up, and we're going to do a board game for an
Yeah.
hour or two before bed or something. So I
Yeah.
think, too, it's having that self awareness to be like, hey, like, I'm sorry, I haven't been very present, like, as a parent.
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome. We'll continue.
So these are the main four ways that our body responds to stress. we're pretty familiar, most of us, with the fight or flight. Um, Fight is where our body is preparing to confront danger. So a student becomes verbally aggressive or argumentative when corrected by a teacher because their body perceives criticism as a threat. So it's like they get all up in arms, they get defensive, they get mouthy. That would be an example of the fight response. Flight is increasing energy to escape threats. So someone constantly stays busy, overworks, or avoids
Mhm.
rest because showing down increasing feelings of anxiety, kind of shoving those down. The other two responses that I don't feel like get a lot of credit are freeze and fawn. Freeze would be our body shutting down or becoming immobilized, literally. A person shuts down during a stressful conversation and cannot speak or make decisions. So it's one of those things where we're just like, we tense
Yeah.
up and we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then fawn is a person tries to stay safe by pleasing others, avoiding conflict, putting other people's needs ahead of their own. So instead of fighting, instead of fleeing or freezing, the nervous system responds by seeking approval and maintaining harmony to reduce perceived danger. And this
Mhm.
is one B that I find myself
Yeah.
falling into the most.
Yeah.
I would consider I'm more of a people pleaser. I don't want
Mhm.
people to be upset with me. I want to make others happy. I mean, we're in the
Yeah.
service
Inducer.
position,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Right. So, but there are some consequences to that. We have to advocate for ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. Self-care is really important in finding what brings us peace. So this can look like constantly apologizing, even
Mhm.
when something's not your fault, just to make the other person happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So overcommitting is another common way of to that your body shows the fawn response.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think I'm with you, Jenna. I think fawn is something we don't think about, because it's not like the fight or flight where it's
Hmm.
loud. It's more of
Hmm.
the quieter, subdued, right?
Hmm.
Even though it doesn't affect the person quieter, it still probably affects them the same as the fight or flight, but it's not perceived as
Hmm.
strongly as the fight or flight from
Yeah.
others, right? So yeah, and it's part of a lot of people who may have had traumatic events in their past, bad relationships, things like that, where fawn has become that protector for them to live.
I think this is a really common response for school age children as
Hmm.
well, because they don't want their peers to not like them. They
Yeah.
don't want their teachers not to like them.
Hmm.
They don't want to have conflict with peers or
Yeah.
end up being an outcast because they don't agree with what the group agrees
Hmm.
with. So I see this a lot with school age children that they'll just say whatever to appease the group or their
Hmm.
friends in order just to feel like they stay friends
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. And they see that at school, but then really at home, they might go into that freeze or fight or
Hmm.
flight, right? We don't see it at the school, but they might be going into where they hold up everything from school and they let it all out at home,
Right. I think
right?
that's fun to fight,
Hmm.
They're not able to keep it. They've been doing it for 8 hours a day. They get home and it's like now they're in their safe
Hmm.
space with their safe people that love them unconditionally. And it's
Hmm. No, exactly.
so, how can we heal and how can we regulate our body when our body is reacting with these responses? There's mind body therapies that can support us and support recovery. Breathing exercises and grounding techniques calm the nervous system. So, going outside, sitting in the quiet, listening to the birds, listening to a storm, instrumental music, something that calms our body from the inside out
Hmm.
and brings us peace. Movement practices such as yoga or walking may reduce stress responses also. And then trauma informed therapy helps rebuild safety and resilience.
Oh, no, those are great practices. And if you ever have any questions, ask your PCP, ask your nurse practitioner saying, hey, you know, what can I do? And maybe they can give you references or referrals to see a therapist and then get that healing and regulation started. Or they can also give you handouts or different, things in
Mhm.
your community, in your area, like Pilates or yoga to start that healing and regulation within yourself if you're not ready to take the step into therapy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, guys, here is our references. Like always, we like to share them in case something really hits to you and you want to research it more. We hope you like those. And so, we have group counseling classes. So, if you're ready to take the next step into prioritizing your mental health, we invite you to get connected and attend our Thrive Connection group counseling classes available free through Wellness Uncorked. These classes will be held by Frontera's professional counselor associates, so Jenna and myself, and are open to individuals in their immediate family working in hospitality, service, or retail industries. Frontera also offers individual counseling and medical service both in person and virtual. So don't let anything stop you if you need those services. We take a lot of different insurances and offer a sliding scale to make healthcare affordable. If you'd like to learn more, give us a call at 830-362-2185 or visit our online website. And always just call and ask questions. We're more than welcome to help you in your journey. If you found today's session helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe on our channel and never miss a Mindful Monday presentation. And we will go live, every Monday on the first Monday of the month. We appreciate you being here and we hope to see you next month. And if you have any questions or concerns regarding today's topic, please drop it in the comments below. Jen and I would be happy to answer any of those, and we'd love to hear from you. And have a wonderful Mindful Monday. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.